Ellie, the win of France was hardly a surprise anymore.
No, I think after he first performed in the semifinals, he saw quite a rise in his popularity throughout Sweden. So I don't really think it was much of a surprise.
Do you think he will do well in Stockholm, in his home nation as well?
I think that's hard to say because obviously he has a lot of support in Sweden, but of course Swedes can't vote for their own country. And from what I saw, the international reaction was very mixed. I saw some people saying that the song was quite boring, that there should have been more of a performance. And of course there were a lot of comparisons to last year's winner, Måns, who of course combined a lot of different elements in order to win the competition. And you didn't really see as much of that with Franz. So I think it might be difficult for him to win over the rest of Europe.
Yeah, also because the field in Melodifestivalen and the result, it was more close than it was in some other recent years.
Yes, it was quite close. I think he barely beat out Oscar Zia's Human, which I think had a little bit more of the elements that people usually look for in Melodifestivalen and in Eurovision in total. A bit more of the air of the dramatic was in Oscar's song. And I think we saw how close it was after the jury votes started coming in, because Oscar Zia was actually leading with the jury votes before the public votes were added. And but Franz also got a lot of support from the jury votes. I think he won 4 of the 12 points from the 11 juries.
Is this also a clue that he might not win Eurovision? Because when we look back at Lorraine and Manselmelo, they had a landslide victory in Melodifestivalen, and this was not a narrow escape, but it was tight.
I think that's a fair criticism of Franz. I think it is an indicator that he will have a tough road ahead of him. He may also have to consider adding a little bit more in terms of stage performance. Because I think historically with Eurovision, just standing in the middle of a stage with just, a few lights behind you doesn't really win over the European audience. So I think he has a little bit of work to do and some thinking to do as well.
What he does have is when you compare to other winners as well, the unique English accent Lena also used for her performance.
That will certainly that does work for him. That will certainly help him going forward. But I'm really not sure that's going to be enough, really, because I think something to also consider with Franz in Sweden is that he sort of has a bit of nostalgia, because he was already known to the Swedish audience for his very popular song "Who Man" about Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He performed that when he was 7, so people remembered him, as this really cute, adorable boy singing this song about Zlatan, and that really helped him a lot, I think.
What was the show like? Were there some changes in the Melodifestivalen final, or was it kind of the same as it was in recent years? Because we have seen the Swedish broadcaster always being innovative when it comes to lifting Melodifestivalen to another level.
Yes, I think that's something SVT does very well year to year. And this year, I think we saw more attention paid to the stage, for instance. There was a lot more in terms of things artists could do with animation and stage setup, which I found to be very interesting and probably something the rest of Europe could benefit from going forward.
Was it a good rehearsal for the big contest coming up in a couple of weeks?
I think it was. I quite enjoyed it. I myself was at a viewing party here in southern Sweden with some friends and fellow Eurovision fans, and it was really fun to hear their responses to it. We also had 1 or 2 people that had actually never seen a Eurovision national final before, so their responses to it were very positive, and they're still talking about it on Monday. I've had messages from people saying, "Yeah, I can't wait to see what the actual Eurovision final is going to be like." So I think it accomplished its job of getting people ready for the final.